Howdy Brazos Valley, it's Hayden Riley with Inhabit Real Estate Group with your monthly MLS update. This is where I share the previous month's statistics to share with you what's been going on real estate-wise in our market. The information provided is provided by the MLS, by the Texas Association of Realtors, and the Texas Real Estate Center. And it is general information. If you'd like to know how this applies specifically to you, please feel free to reach out to me at hayden@haydenriley.com. You can find me on social media at Hayden Riley Realtor or on my website at www.haydenriley.com. Without any further ado, let's get started. All right, it is December of 2021, which means we're going over November's numbers. Let's start with average days on market. All right, as you can see from the red line, we are at 77 for the month of November, which, as you can see, is much lower than the previous 2 years. Just keep in mind 120 days is about the mark where you start moving into a balanced market. In other words, buyer and seller do not have advantage over one another. The lower that you get, the more into a seller's market that you are. Or at least that's an indicator for that. Next, units sold. We are looking at closed transactions here. For the month of November, we were at 311, which is pretty much on pace for this time last year. In fact, we've stayed on pace with last year since, I'd say, about August. But that does not mean that we are declining as far as our sales numbers go. We are still moving at a pretty feverish pace, as you'll see from other statistics as well. Next is our new listings taken. We typically spike in March or April because people want to put their houses on the market just before the buying season begins, which is May, June, July. So that happened again this year, but we didn't have any other spikes during the year that would have helped make up for the lack of inventory that we've experienced so far. In fact, we have less than half of the inventory that we had this time last year. We are at 312 new listings taken for the month of November, and which is just on pace for where we were this time last year. Next, we're looking at statistics for just Bryan and College Station instead of the 7-county area. Median price point, $271,045, up 14.9% compared to this time last year. Active listings are down 53.3%. Our days on market, 75, which is 32 days less than November of 2020. Price distribution for active listings is where it usually is, with the lion's share of active listings between $100,000 and $300,000. Our closed sales are up 9.6%, and our months of inventory 1.1 months. That means that if we were not to take on any new listings, but repeated our month of November, it would take 1.1 months to completely be rid of our inventory, have zero inventory. So what that is, just to give you some point of reference, 6 months is an indicator of more of a buyer's market, maybe a balanced market at that point. So 1.1 months is well below that, which is just another indicator of a seller's market. Last, we're going to take a look at some statistics that may give us an idea of what's to come, as it has most of this year, which is the properties that have gone under contract in the last week. So newly under contract in the last week, 76 of 467 total active listings for that week. And so that means that 16.2% of our inventory went under contract in the last week. That's a lot of inventory for just 1 week. Now, you can see the previous statistics for the rest of the year. It has been higher, but for the month of November, that's pretty unusual to see that high a percentage of the inventory going under contract. So What does this mean for you? Well, with a seller's market means higher prices on homes. It means more competition for buyers. But there is still a way to navigate that on either side. So if you do have any questions, no matter what your position on that spectrum, or if you're just a homeowner and want to know what this may mean for your property taxes, I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you offline at haydenriley.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Hayden Riley Realtor. Otherwise, thanks for listening. I want to wish you and your families, as the case would be, the happiest and safest holiday season.